Strong pick ban, strong team fighting, but sometimes they waver in the laning phase. So it's going to be really interesting to watch all stages of this game.
And that's actually a really great point that you put out there. Texas A&M, I believe in their interview, they mentioned that their early game, their laning phase, was what they were specifically preparing for against UBC. They feel confident in their late game. They've got a strong pick ban phase, and that's what we're seeing right now. We've already soared through the bans and instant lock Gragas for Texas A&M.
And Texas A&M are probably going to pull this almost every game. They get to stay on blue side all 3 games due to the fact that UBC selected red for their side choices. So this first pick, Gragas, is a flex pick. It can go to support. We have seen Forgive Me, I Suck on that one, and we've also seen Picarus on it. So that's a high priority champion. Sejuani also off the table, but proof, he gets his Rek'Sai and they take the Nautilus away.
Yeah, that Rek'Sai is very scary from proof of payment. DJJ also locking in the Nautilus as well. With Rek'Sai already locked in, though, something's telling me that's not going to be a jungle Nautilus.
Yeah, the Rek'Sai is pretty much a dead giveaway. I was watching Remy. He's actually practicing this Nautilus because it is a flex pick as well that Tamu could pick up and then be like, you don't know where Gragas is going, you don't know where Nautilus is going, because they're interchangeable in their positions. So this actually takes away a little bit of Tamu's versatility in their champion select. The Rek'Sai for proof, though, in the last few games that we've seen him in collegiate LoL, he's had Rek'Sai and Nidalee banned against him every game. Nidalee's up, but he goes with Rek'Sai, so he's not looking for those early picks. He's looking for a little bit of team fighting late with some aggression.
Yeah, and I really love what both of these teams are doing right now. We mentioned that Tamu strong with their pick ban phase. UBC, it was their weak part, but seeing how quickly they're locking in, how confidently they're picking in these champions. It seems like both of these teams have got a plan going into this, and we can see Picarus heavily in conversation with the rest of his team.
He's in charge of picks and bans. He sets it up for them. He does all the work for it, and they have so much faith in him in their late game shot calling as well. He calls targets during team fights, and he just has such a leadership role on this team. A great influence on them as well. But I want to talk about the champions that we saw banned. They hate playing against LeBlanc on Tamu. They've just flat out said they do not like playing against any LeBlanc player, and Bob Chin's a LeBlanc player. So they banned that away from him. They pick up the Orianna, but Epic Shot said he was looking forward to playing Assassins. So as this series develops, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to play it, though, because he never gets red side counterpick. So he's probably going to go for the Orianna every time. And they also lock in the Diana. That's a top Diana here for Epic Lynx.
Yeah, this is a really flexible composition from AMU, and this is something you and I were talking about before the game. UBC with red side all 3 games. Yeah. That leaves Bob Chin free to counterpick every single time. And sometimes this has helped UBC, but it has also hindered them in some of their past games.
So when you have counterpick, you still have to have a large enough champion pool that you're adept at, that you want to bring out on the live stage to actually counterpick with. If he's just got Zed in his back pocket against Orianna, then he's going to pull that out. It's not going to synergize with the comp too well, but they will become a skirmish pick comp. But if that is an Urgot that he's picked up, that's a pretty good matchup, and Urgot just gets to farm. He gets to scale in the late game, and another assassin here.
Yeah, Bob Chin looking to show off on his first game on the big stage as he picks up Katarina. And with that, we've got our 2 compositions locked in. Texas A&M looking very strong with a standard team fight composition. Could we have expected anything less from the team fight team?
I don't know how standard Diana top is. It might be standard for Epic Lynx, but he gets to get the ball in. He is the point-and-click ball delivery system, and if they have this synergy between Epic Shots and Epic Lynx, then they're going to be able to pull off some crazy moves in the late game. Good team fighting, good ability to actually disengage a fight and then pick the one that they want. UBC, though, they have a lot of go buttons. They have the Scion ultimate. They can get a Rek'Sai with a flank. Bob Chin, he's going to have to wait for people to get poked down by Urgot, by heat waves, before he gets into the fight. And here's the thing, is this bottom lane, Urgot Nautilus, is something that we actually saw in Korea a whole bunch. We saw it in the North American playoffs. It's a very oppressive bottom lane. If Nautilus lands any ability, Urgot's follow-up chunks him out, and you basically win the lane off of one misposition.
Yeah, and so Bob Chin is going to be the big playmaker for his team. We saw his play on Zed during the qualifiers getting into this. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are now loading onto the Rift. This is Texas's A&M University taking on University of British Columbia in game number 1 of the NACC 2015 semifinals. We have now loaded onto the Rift. Let's see.
I'm definitely looking forward to the team fights in these games. Laning phase, all right, maybe UBC will come out with advantage. Maybe Tamu will surprise us with some early roams. But I'm looking for the lane swaps. I'm looking for the team fight shot calling in this matchup.
Yeah, that's one of the big exciting points. is that UBC are all very highly mechanically skilled players. They're very confident in their lanes. Bobchin frequently solo kills his opponents. DJJ, very aggressive in the top lane. He's typically the first to receive pressure from Proof. And Bobchin sees a 5-man invade going on, but he's just going to drop a ward and yeah, Proof is going to back out.
So if Tamu actually get these deep wards to spot a lane swap, it could be problems for UBC. UBC did not lane swap in their previous games, and the thing here is Tamu, if they lane swap, they avoid the early game pressure. They shut down DJJ a little bit, and he's actually a Smite TP Scion. So you're going to see a little jungling from him at the start. But the big thing is, if they actually get a lane swap on him, it's so easy to dive him without a flash, and it's a Scion who's immobile in the first place. He's a little durable, but you can still get a 4-man roam onto him and make it very effective. So I'm watching for DJJ and what ends up happening to that lane.
Take a look at this recall. He's coming down the mid lane right now, probably going to be starting at the Direwolf camp so he can get that level 2. He wants to be on the strong side of the map. Now, these wards from UBC are spotting out A&M's duo lane in the bottom.
Yeah, they really want this because it's a strong matchup. Urgot Nautilus is just such an oppressive lane, but they're going to walk backwards. They might start a camp here and get that early level 2.
Taking it nice and slow as they are going to start with that Krug camp, and it looks like DJJ feels confident enough to start with the Raptor. That means Proof doesn't get a leash. Picarus starting off with his Gromp as well.
They also avoid all the wards, too. UBC isn't spotted by any wards, at least their top laner isn't, so DJJ is safe with doing this camp, and Texas A&M don't know if the lane swap's coming or not.
Yeah, so with that, they actually don't even fully clear out the Krug camp. They managed to take, I believe that was the large Krug, or the small Krug.
It's one or the other.
It was one of the Krugs.
It's one or the other.
There's a 50-50 chance. So they take one of the Krugs. They're going to get a nice experience advantage in lane. Already the harass begins. Forgive me, putting some pressure on the Remy.
They have to take into account the level 2 from UBC, though.
Oh, the snare finds Chuck Normus. Ignite is dropped as well. He's down to 200 health. He's got the Stinger. It's first blood. Remy picks it up. They're still following on to Forgive Me, but he gets out.
They were trying to push up against them, and UBC was going...
the PM! Oh, man.
Oh. But they overpushed there. They were trying to get the stacks of the Relic Shield off to try and just get those creeps down faster, but they didn't take into account the experience that UBC had. You saw it right there. Urgot lands an ability, and if you get the passive from the Nautilus on somebody, you're going to land the Noxian Corrosive Charge and follow up. That was huge damage there, and they get an early first blood. It's only 3 minutes in the game, and this bottom lane is already showing how oppressive it is.
Yeah, the pressure coming out from UBC is looking fantastic. We talked about their mechanical skill, and that's exactly what we saw. Remy and Heat Waves coming up big in that bottom lane.
And this is good, too, because the games that I was watching previously, Remy was all of the lane presence in this lane. He was playing Nami, putting E on himself, and auto-attacking. He was the only one trading, and Heat Waves was just trying to CS. This looks like a more aggressive bottom lane, and I don't know if it's because they think they're just able to take the fight to Texas A&M earlier, but they're really just as a little uncharacteristic of Heat Waves and Remy. They seem on the same page, and I know that Heat Waves was struggling with possible land jitters. You know, he was just hoping that he could take deep breaths and let it all level out, and it seems to be working for him.
Yeah, he seems to be in a really happy spot, even dropping the Span laugh.
Oh, he goes in!
Forgive Me goes in. Chuck Normus is going to be caught out. They turn on to Forgive Me. He's forced to flash away. The hook pulls him back in. He's snared. Could this be another kill for the bottom lane? He flashes. Proof picks it up. UBC with 2 kills in the bottom lane.
This is something you don't prepare for when you watch UBC's games. Proof, every time you see him, he's playing to DJJ or Bobchin, his solo laners. Every game that I've watched, they don't camp this bottom lane. They leave it on an island, and now this is a different playstyle from UBC that is really hard to research. You couldn't see this coming.
Yeah, Texas A&M feeling like they might be gasping for air here. Luckily, it is only 5 minutes in. They've got time to recover. They've got time to get themselves back together. It's still very early in the game, and it isn't the Snowbally Katarina that's getting the kills.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it's hard to gank for this lane, though. This bottom lane has so much gank assistance. Going top, it's a Diana. You can get in there, but the fact that Proof is going for all of these early moves, he's still only level 3, and Picarus is farming up level 4 on the Nunu, looking for the early dragon, but they're just going to ward it up. He's not going to go for that cheesy 4th dragon, or
Level 4 dragon.
Level 4
That's
dragon. It's not so cheesy, but it's a strategy on Nunu.
Yeah, Boots of Mobility Remy means he's free to go around and drop some wards, feel safe that Picarus isn't going to come harass Recall coming out of Epic Lynx, or I guess Retreat Ping, as he sees Proof walking on top up there. Epic Lynx seems like he's doing okay.
Yeah, he's doing fine in that lane. Diana is a comfort pick for him in the top lane. And he's trying to bring it out here and show what he's got on that Assassin. But he's not going to be able to get a whole lot of kill potential on a Scion. Taking down a Scion as a Diana is a very tall order.
Oh yeah.
He packs a lot more damage than you would think. He's very deceptive in his base damages, and he gets tanky, and Diana's very bursty. And if Scion goes back and buys first item, Spectre's Cowl, you're almost never going to kill him in lane. This is pretty much a farm up for Epic Lynx, hoping that he gets to the late game. But who's he going to blow up? It's a tanky Urgot. It's going to be a tanky top laner. Proof will get tanky as well. It's really, he might be looking for Bobchin in the late game. That's about it.
It is entirely possible. Diana very strong against Cat.
Exactly. Her Moonfall will be able to interrupt the ultimate, the Death Lotus, but
and that is also, as you mentioned in Champions, like this is a ball delivery system. Oh, potential roam from Epic Shots. Decides not to walk through Tribrush.
Bobchin started shoving the wave as soon as possible.
Got harassed
after he left, so if he had gone bottom and was spotted by a ward, he would have just lost even more CS. And this top lane, though, this top lane is actually going heavily in favor of DJJ at this point. There's no more potions left in the inventory of Epic Lynx, and he's slowly but surely getting chunked down, and now it's Bobchin's time to show up top and possibly get a kill here. You have to watch out for this,
scary situation. 3 minions. Oh, and they don't make it to the turret in time, which means, Bobchin comes in from behind. Epic Lynx. He gets a good flank, but gets out of there. Epic Lynx flashes once again. Bobchin takes a hit and gets out alive. Oh, an action in the bottom. This is Heat Waves too far forward.
They're looking for a kill,
He drops two, and they're
Remy
looking for Epic Shots. Action all across the map.
He has no mana.
Oh, Epic Shots forced to flash away, but with his team behind him, he escapes, and they immediately turn onto the Dragon.
That's the Dragon. That's the objective control that Tamu plays for. The team fights. Remy left lane to go deal with mid, and as soon as he left to go ward up, immediately Tamu collapsed on that bottom lane, and Picarus got some early assistance and starts getting these dragons to fall into their hands, which is desperately needed on this Nunu.
Yeah, big play from Texas A&M picking up that dragon. They did get their first kill, so they're not out of this just yet. They're still feeling very strong, confident enough to make these team plays. And that was one of their big concerns, making it out of the laning phase without being at too much of a deficit. Right now it's only 700 gold, but they do have that first dragon.
Yeah, it's been a rough early game so far for Texas A&M. And they're definitely right to think it's going to be a struggle for them. You can see Chuck Normus actually got an Avarice Blade first item. He didn't go for the pickaxe. He goes for that. But look at this. He doesn't have a lot of trading potential with that item either. They're pretty much playing on the back foot for the whole remainder of this lane bottom. And that Avarice Blade, he's just trying to get to that late game. He's trying to get to that mid game, but you can't let them dominate you too hard in this early game.
Ooh, Bobchin has got a ward, so he can ward jump away. Yep, makes it under turret. Proof showing his face as well. Nice harass from Picarus. It is pretty tough for him to get any ganks across, as it is a highly mobile mid lane and a very tanky top lane, but he did get some effectiveness in the bottom. And there is the Sightstone pickup from Picarus. I'm sure we're going to see Forgive Me pick up his own in just a second. Texas A&M do love their deep vision.
Yeah, they're mostly going for gold at the moment. Deep Vision will come in later. He upgraded his shield just to make sure that he could get some extra gold incoming, that he can end up a little bit better for the wear in the bottom lane. And yeah, this top lane, like I said, he's not going to have kill pressure for a very, very long time, if ever, on this Diana versus the Scion. So Epic Lynx, he's going to take a beating here. He's going to take a really big beating for a while. Picarus has to come up to the lane and take the experience and take the gold, because the TP is still down.
Yeah, so that is going to be a bit of a miss minion wave for Epic Lynx. He did talk about the fact how he wants to kill DJJ in lane. He wants to solo kill the very aggressive top laner of DJJ. But it doesn't look like it's going to be happening this game. He's 20 CS down, and he does have 1 death.
Something that happened during all of the group stages for Texas A&M is they actually won their lane phases. And this is a very different game for them.
Oh no, Normus. Flash suppression, no. Chuck Normus. You're running the wrong way, friend. He's going to be caught out here. Snare lands. Who's going to be
just trying to get the CS before he dies?
Yeah, Heat Waves gets it. Oh, very unfortunate. Great positioning from UBC.
They're just picking on this bottom lane with their pick potential on a single target. They don't care if it's Gragas, they don't care if it's the Chuck Normus on the Lucian. They're going to go after whoever is in range, and that's where they're trying to actually just get the dagger in and twist it so that they can end this game. It's all off his bottom lane. And as soon as Heatwave starts getting tanky, there isn't really a squishy target aside from the Katarina, but Bobchin's cleanup duty. He's not going to be a primary initiator in this team.
Yeah, Heatwaves is already stacking up his tier of the Goddess and getting closer and closer to his Manamune. Minion wave shoved in the bottom. UBC look like they want to try putting some pressure onto this tier 1. If they can knock that down, get Remy roaming. Oh, the hook lands onto Picarus, but it is just harass. UBC just trying to maintain that advantage and keep Chuck Normus, as you said, on the back foot.
Chuck Normus has pretty much been on the back foot all game long since the very, very beginning.
Since what, minute 3?
Yeah, pretty much. When you don't take into account that the enemy did the Gromp, you look at their health bars, you look at their mana, how they cast spells.
And then they thought they were so clever too, because they cleared half of the Krugs just to make sure that they would get an experience camp, but I guess the Gromp gives more experience than one Krug.
Yes, that's how jungle camps work, fortunately. Fortunately.
Oh, Hook finds Forgive Me. He's got his explosive cast.
Proof's here
Uses it
too,
immediately. Proof with the flank. Forces the flash out of Forgive Me. He's still running for his life. Is he going to get out alive? Teleport coming in from Epic Lynx. Tamu trying to turn it. He actually completes the teleport here. It's followed up by DJJ. Is he going to dive it? This is starting to look like a bad situation. DJJ turns onto Forgive Me. Epic Lynx snared out. Chuck Normus doesn't have the damage.
Shots.
Oh man, getting a shield onto Epic Lynx. Proof chasing. Shockwave is big.
Shots.
He picks up 1 kill. He's going to run under the turret, but Bobchin. Oh boy, that Katarina is hungry.
Yeah, a lot of team fighting to be happening this game. And here's the thing is whoever shows up first in greater numbers is usually going to get that first kill. It's only 1-to-1 though in the overall trade. So that's actually really good for Texas A&M. They have some damage control here. But look, there might be even more coming out here. Bobchin is still in this first push, and they don't know
and they're bursting down. Chuck Normus' heel is burned. He gets away alive, and Picarus is forced to flash. Whew. In the jaws of the beast, and he gets out alive.
Bloodthirsty games. I love it. I love it. So much fighting. I was talking about, I want to get to those team fights. Lane phase, you know, whoever gets it might have that edge, but I'm really interested in the shot calling here because the game seems very hectic. It's only a 1.3k gold lead, and you're going to see right here, the TP comes in early. Diana, Epic Lynx doesn't try to go for the Q. He goes for the R first, so he doesn't have a reset on it to re-gap close and continue the fight. They get Forgive Me because he went a little too far forward past the TP point, and now Epic Shots comes in for the nice cleanup there onto Heatwaves. Big thing, Picarus is not involved in this fight at all. He's farming the jungle as Nunu. He's not there in time just because of his positioning before the fight.
Yeah, and that's going to put Tamu a little bit of a better situation. Now, Dragon is spawning. It's 20 seconds before it's up. Wards all over the pit for both A&M and UBC, but no teleport for either of these top laners. DJJ, however, has got an enormous mobility ultimate that can get him across the map. Dragon spawns. Nobody wants to deal with it just yet. They're content to sit in the landing phase. Interestingly enough, Chuck Normus is a level up on Heatwaves.
A lot of people have been showing up to his lane. Forgive Me has been out of the lane a decent amount, so he's getting solo experience for a tiny bit. It's very close, though, in terms of experience.
Epic Shots. Oh, he's going to be collapsed on here, but he's got backup from Picarus. They find Proof. Shockwave gets
this is a really good fight for Tamu.
Put some damage onto Proof. Are they going to turn it? They do. Picarus picks it up. Bobchin forced to jump away. Without the jungler, Tamu can take their second dragon. Oh, they have to zone away Heatwaves and Remy, however. There they go. Are they going to try contesting this? UBC just might.
Well, it's a low Picarus. Bobchin wants to go after this. Forgive Me goes forward.
He gets in, knocks Remy out of position. More damage comes across. He's picked up by Epic Shots, evening the kills. UBC trying to turn it. Forgive Me drops, but he's a support. Bobchin gets 1. Is he looking for 2? He's going to turn onto Epic Shots, but Epic Shots kites him away. For Chuck Normus getting out of there. They're turning. Epic Lynx picks up another kill with the assassin Diana. Great damage coming across from Heatwaves, forcing Epic Shots to flash, and Epic Lynx. Oh, he takes some damage. Is he going to get out of the skill shot? He is.
That's a favorable trade for Texas A&M. The gold is almost even again, just off of team fighting. As soon as UBC started making it a team fight game, Tamu seems to be on top of this right now.
Oh, UBC's starting the dragon here. They know that Tamu's weak.
They'll get it. Enough members were dead, and enough members had to be backed off and pushed away from it. They got the vision control earlier, so UBC, they do end up negative for that trade, but they don't let the Nunu get another dragon to prevent that 5th dragon snowball from happening earlier.
Yeah, this is fantastic for A&M as they are getting towards the end of the laning phase, at the end of that volatile era of the game. And they're coming out rather even. It's only about a 400 gold lead for University of British Columbia, and A&M, they're starting to transition into those powerful team fights, and we've already seen with a couple of fights in this game. UBC are very, very strong. They're very highly mechanically skilled, but A&M are keeping up with excellent positioning. I mean, Epic Shots has been coming up huge with those shockwaves.
Yeah. Epic Shots shockwaves have been on point. You can see just from his scoreline how well he's keeping this team together. But this top lane, Epic Lynx, he's done some work on this top turret. He might get the first turret of the game for his team. Enough pressure from Texas A&M on these lanes. Proof is trying to come top because he knows that Epic Lynx might actually overextend for this turret, and then they can punish him. Picarus is going to have to play to this side of the map for a little bit and possibly free up that turret, but it's just warded and covered and riddled with tunnels at this point by Proof.
Proof of Payment has been very mobile so far. Oh, A&M group up in the mid lane. Looks like we've also got Chuck Normus on his way up there as well. This could be the first 5-man siege. Teleport almost up for both DJJ, but Epic Lynx has already got his. Instead, they just camp up on the bottom side of the map, looking for some roams, looking to find someone out of position. Epic Lynx putting on the moves to DJJ. He actually activates the ultimate.
Yeah, Proof is right off on the wings. They want to flank him.
They turn it around. Flash gets him out of there. Epic Lynx. Great flash.
Well, they knew he was going to overextend for the turret, so they get his flash pretty much for nothing at that point. Challenging Smite is down for DJJ, so this is another lane that they're not going to be able to leverage too much out of, but they go immediately middle because they saw 2 members top. Everybody collapses here. This is the shot calling from Texas A&M. Urgot's going to be late to this. If they keep the damage up, they'll actually take the turret before a fight can even start.
Oh, so close, but they just can't quite clear the turret in time. Next minion wave spawns, but Heat Waves has made it there in time. They're able to keep it standing for now. Yeah, Texas A&M, they've been preparing for this game specifically against UBC for weeks. This has been their sole focus.
Yeah, and that's the thing is UBC have actually been looking forward. They've been looking at the next match. They haven't been preparing too much for Texas A&M from what I've heard from them. They are focusing on their own individual play style and playing as a team. They're basically saying, well, we don't need to research you too hard because we're just going to play our own style and dictate the pace of the game, and then you have to get on our level. Whereas Texas A&M, they haven't been preparing for RMU. They haven't been preparing for UConn. They're preparing for this game against UBC. UBC threw him a curveball with that gank bottom over and over again because it's different than what you would research from that team. But their team fighting still holds true. And UBC, it's still that mismatch. They didn't get a huge lead in the laning phase that wasn't overcome by team fighting by Texas A&M. So the gold is actually 200 in favor of Texas A&M already.
Yeah, they're starting to get to that comfortable late game. The top turret goes down. Epic Lynx secures the very first one of the game, forcing the recall out of DJJ, and Proof is even waiting in the wings to catch that minion wave as it bounces off the turret. And the rest of A&M starts sieging up mid as well. Roaming Katarina doesn't have the wave clear. They take down 2 turrets in quick succession. A&M are turning up the heat.
Yeah, and you mentioned the wave clear. This team composition from UBC, no wave clear.
Yep.
They have no wave clear. They'll have to wait for the Luden's Echo from Katarina, but even then it's not very reliable. They don't have quick AoE ranged wave clear, whereas if you look at the team comp from Texas A&M, they have a lot of it. They have 3 members who have some good ranged wave clear that they can actually leverage, and that's going to be a problem here for UBC, because side waves will get pushed faster, and then team fights will start around objectives, and even if they're just stalling you out before the team fight, you're going to start losing turret damage little by little because of these minion waves.
Yeah, and we're slowly seeing the cracks in UBC's armor as they're whittled down piece by piece. DJJ is going to get some solid damage on the top tier 1 turret as no one's able to make it in time, with Epic Lynx splitting bottom then covering mid. Picarus, however, is there to catch it. Great team play out of A&M so far as they are getting that rotation across the map and making sure that nothing falls. UBC. It seems like UBC are kind of floundering a little bit.
They're looking for something, but it's very hard to leverage without wave clear. That's a big tool that people take for granted in team compositions. is they're like, all right, we'll just get the turret. It's like, well, can you siege against an Orianna who's going to wave clear your wave instantaneously? You have to have enough dive pressure to actually counter that and dodge past it or dive past it. Everybody right now is playing for this next dragon, though. It'd be number 2 for either team. Gold is pretty even. Scuttler Crab is in favor of UBC at the moment, but it's still 45 seconds until it's up.
Yeah, A&M, they do get some grouping in the mid. Damage coming out from Epic Lynx as he turns onto DJJ. Some big damage coming across. He's down to about half health, but isn't done quite yet. He's actually taking more burn from the Cinderhulk than from DJJ himself. He's continuing to provide chase. If you can get DJJ to burn his ultimate, that would be huge. But he gets out of there. Epic Lynx has got his teleport. He's going to have to recall if he wants to make it in time for that dragon when it respawns. And we see the same from DJJ.
Yeah, very low mana there from DJJ. And Epic Lynx, he's able to take that fight to him. 10 CS down. He's survived the laning phase. He's successfully passed that point as this Diana. He's come online. And if he's able to actually duel a Cinderhulk challenging Smite Scion, that's huge for Texas A&M, because that's something that you don't see coming when you pick this matchup.
Yeah, Dragon has now spawned. Texas A&M are grouped up. DJJ actually walks down. He doesn't want to burn his teleport. Epic Lynx does have a big wave in the top. Ooh, good harass finds Chuck Normus, but he still gets out just fine. A little bit of clear coming out from UBC as they're finding better positioning. It's 5 versus 5 at the Dragon. Everyone's grouped up. Proof starts it. Icarus taking some huge harass from heat waves. He's
Watch
getting
the
off big
Orianna
damage.
ball in this fight. This is going to be a key point. Is this Orianna ball, and if they slap it onto Epic Lynx and he dives in the back, who is it going to hit?
Oh, here comes the big turn. DJJ goes in. The shockwave is huge. He's going to find damage. Bobchin being dived by Epic Lynx in the back while Tamu zones out from the front. Remy goes low. Epic Lynx is going to drop, but 2 members have already gone down. It's cleaned up by Chuck Normus. They got to deal with that Scion passive, though. It's a triple kill on Chuck Normus. Who needs a laning phase when you pick up a triple? Oh, Bobchin is looking for the juicy resets. He's going to be zoned away by Forgive Me. Oh, they do take it. Oh, man.
Texas A&M just got a huge foothold in this game. If they're able to pull off moves like that in team fights, you have to respect the ball position. UBC are not paying Epic Shots his dues. He's 2-0-5. No deaths. He has been a completely unexploited lane by UBC. They didn't play the Bobchin this time. Bobchin's having a rough matchup for one of the first times in the entire collegiate tournament. This guy, when I talked to him, he said he's just crushing people.
Yeah.
And Wesley, DJJ was telling me that if Bobchin ever says that he's having a hard time in a lane, that guy must be a god. But right now, you can see right here, the positioning of the ball, backline, DJJ goes in and it separates the team. They shockwave the backline, and that means during the entire time that DJJ is in the front line, getting damage onto Epic Shots, Icarus, and Chuck Normus, there's no follow-up because the 3 damage dealers were all shockwave and Bobchin was left off on the side.
Yeah, huge play from Epic Lynx. You mentioned in Champions, like his sole job would be to find Katarina and just home in on her during fights, and that's exactly what we saw.
They're going for it.
Double teleport. The shockwave finds 3. Remy goes in, but Bobchin is dealing some big damage. He doesn't have enough follow-up, though. A double kill from Chuck Normus. The barrel knocks DJJ away. A quick 2 kills for Texas A&M for free.
That was a 5v4. Epic Lynx is bottom right now. He's pushing a turret. Epic Shots is doing an amazing job on this Orianna. There's a reason he has played it over and over and over again, and that they were 8-0 throughout their group and regional stages.
Yeah, the big name of the game is Brain versus Brawn here, and right now it looks like the Pen has won. It is mightier than the high ELO of UBC.
It is a team game. It's a team game. You have to play as a team, and that's what Tamu's showing right now. They're having an amazing display of teamwork with a composition that you wouldn't be like, oh, this is easy wombo combo to pull off. Well, look at this. The ball is right there on Forgive Me, and nobody's paying attention to it. It gets 3 members again. And then Bobchin jumps in, and the damage wasn't applied because Chuck Normus threw all of his across where the ball was put down. And that was just a great cleanup, great start to the fight there from Texas A&M.
Yeah, this is fantastic play from A&M. They are feeling so very, very confident in this. Icarus gets caught going for a deep board. He's taking a lot of damage. It's triple CC that's going to lock him down. Heat Waves picks it up. There's a good pick, and oh no.
They're looking for Forgive Me.
Are they going to find him in the mid lane? He's going under the tier 1. Actually, body blocked it. Bob Chin tries to go for the dive. Shockwave to turn it around, but DJJ, they find 1 kill and immediately turn it into 2.
Pickers got picked off in the jungle, and it opens up so much of the map. They might be able to get 2 turrets off of this because they also force Epic Shots back, who's a big source of their wave clear. They need to keep this minion wave alive, and they get half of it culling off. That's a good move there by Chuck Normus.
Yeah, UBC have to back away from this one. A&M still strong. Chuck Normus, after going 0-2 and I believe 2 during the laning phase, is now 5-2 and 4. He's coming up so big, completing his IE and his static shiv.
Yeah, you have a rough laning phase, you buy an Avarice Blade, and then you end up 31 CS up over your lane opponent who's an Urgot. It's such an oppressive lane, but once you get out of the laning phase, you can even see Chuck Normus is 2 levels up over Heat Waves. He's just getting a lot of solo lane experience, a lot of time with minion waves. When they group up as 3 or 4 members in the middle, Epic Lynx is off on the side, split pushing, but the person who's picking up the farm is Chuck Normus. They're funneling a lot into him, and Epic Shots is getting a lot of his gold off of kills and assists this game. He is picking up CS, but that's the big part, is he's getting all of these kills and assists, and he's not even falling by the wayside. Death Cap completed, Athene's Unholy Grail. This Orianna's damage, and nobody has really prioritized too much magic resistance yet. We don't see the Aegis of the Legion coming out yet. We see a Righteous Glory from Remy, though, to try and start more fights, but they're losing a lot of fights that they're taking on UBC's side. Yeah,
it's kind of funny to see how UBC is building right now. DJJ is the only one who's got any magic resist with that Spectre's Cowl because he had to deal with the Diana in lane. Diana's not going to attack DJJ. She's going to go straight for Bobchin in the back lane, who's only got that Abyssal Scepter for sustain. But again, things are dead even in this match. It's barely 1,000 gold in favor of A&M. Even in kills, even in turrets. Very nearly even in dragons. This is neck and neck right now. Cannot wait for the next team fight. It is going to be awesome.
Dragons. Dragons are the name of the game here. Texas A&M was like, we're going to pick Nunu so we can go after every dragon. And UBC picked the team fight comp to fight a dragon. But so far, Texas A&M have been leveraging wave clear over them. They've been leveraging team fights and vision control. And ball placement. Epic Shots has been a huge, huge part of this game.
Doing a great job to carry his team out of the laning phase.
He said he wanted to play more assassins. He goes back to the Orianna, and it's doing wonders for him. There's a reason he got here off of Orianna.
Yeah.
And it's just showing.
Oh, Epic Lynx gets caught out. Bobchin turns it around, though.
He's got another dash.
He's got flash and tries to Zhonya's. Does he have the swag play to follow it up? No, he gets out of the hook by flashing. He's followed up, however. He's going to be suppressed and gets a shockwave to save him. Epic Lynx is still alive. Chuck Normus kills him. Epic Lynx is doing such work right now. Chuck Normus chasing him around from the back. Bobchin picks up a kill for revenge. But that amazing bait. A&M pick up 3 kills, losing only Epic Lynx.
That's the teamwork of Texas A&M. They aren't going to leave anybody out to dry. They're going to collapse and take the team fight and take their 3rd dragon of the game off of it. 3 for 1. They'll take it.
A&M coming up big. They're now up in kills, up in dragons. Very soon to be up in turrets if this 4-man siege continues mid. No, they're continuing across the map. Are they headed for the Baron?
Ooh, there's still a TP left on DJJ. Proof goes for the ultimate across the map. They're going to have 2-3 members here in time for this Baron.
Oh man, Chuck Normus is doing some serious work. Here's teleport in from behind. Epic Lynx is going to try zoning it out. Remy, Righteous Glory into the pit. Baron's still alive. They're going to drop Remy before he's able to get anything across. Proof is turned upon. A&M turning this fight around. They find Heat Waves on the backside. Bobchin on cleanup duty. He gets 2 kills. Can he get 3? Is he going to get the reset? He is. Follows it up and double kill for Heat Waves. UBC capitalizing on the greed of A&M.
Remy went in a little early, but he was just buying time for DJJ to respawn and TP in, and then Bobchin with the cleanup. Ooh. Amazing pickup, 4 for 1 for just the support. That's going to be Baron to UBC, and they get themselves right back in the game and in the lead.
Yeah, Ping's now going down onto the bot tier 2 turret. UBC take down this Baron. They're probably going to have to recall after this as they are very low health. Yeah, a great pickup from UBC. Who needs dragons when you can get Baron?
Yeah, they peeled off of it very early from Texas A&M. It looked like they were just trying to stop UBC from getting in, and then they all pulled off of it. DJJ teleported in, and nobody was in that pit with him. You're going to see it right here. Epic Lynx TP's in, and then they're like, we have to go help him, and flank. Remy comes in, does some damage, but then they back off. Nobody's dealing damage to the Baron anymore. Chuck Normus peels off of it as well. DJJ's in the pit, but that Baron's at 3k HP. They still have a smite available, they still have a consume, and instead they try to go for the team fight against people who just respawned. They just purchased, they just got back to full HP, and that was a huge cleanup there. I don't know if they were expecting Bobchin to be there, because when you're running around with low HP bars, you should always have that Katarina on your mind.
Yeah, and A&M played that out excellently, tried to make the best of that situation, but they just needed an extra 3 seconds, 4 seconds on the death timer in order to feel a little bit more comfortable. With that, they all respawn. What can UBC take with this Baron buff? Grouped up in the mid and top.
This is really good for UBC as a composition as well. They're 1k up, they have Baron, but they lack the wave clear. When you have Baron though, it's gonna take care of it for you. So now it's all on Texas A&M to spread out their wave clear appropriately to deal with the Baron buff while it's on, and then take a team fight when they see the opening for it. DJJ, he has it as well. He's gonna just push this top wave and try to get pressure and try to get some damage on these turrets, because that's the problem, is cracking these tier 2 turrets is difficult for UBC.
Yeah, split push Scion doing work in the top. Epic Lynx is going to be the one who catches him. While the rest of UBC group up in the mid. They do have a rotation set up, so they can swing to the top wave, but instead they decide to just keep the pressure on. Prevent A&M from getting out from under this siege. And it looks like A&M are going to be able to hold for now. Oh, bit of damage, finds proof. Still doing just fine. Bobchin, very, very scary on that Katarina as he looks for any sort of opening. But he's not going to dive. The rotation from UBC as they swing up towards the top side. They are going to get a little bit of damage onto this tier 2. Scion taking the turret. Epic Lynx, ooh, forces DJJ to get out of there.
And UBC are just trying to get past these tier 2 turrets in the wave clear. They have to play around it. You have to kind of skitter with ward control, let their ward control expire, threaten them with the fact that you could fight them in the jungle if they showed up, and try to clear the waves as fast as possible. It's difficult. Scion, he does have some good wave clear. He has okay wave clear. It falls off later though when his base damages are at their maximum. But as you can see, it's almost no match now for the triple wave clear from Texas A&M.
And even clearing it out in the mid lane, Chuck Normus didn't rotate with the rest of his team so that he could bounce that wave, and now he's roaming down towards the bottom to get some more Krugs. He's probably pretty close to that last Whisper.
When you come to this bottom wave that's going to keep pushing out, there isn't a Baron to get. UBC is just going to send somebody to go clear that bottom wave that's pushing against them. Dragon's up in a minute 10. It would be the fourth one for Texas A&M. UBC had that on their mind. They weren't able to press their Baron buff. They didn't get a turret off of having Baron. They weren't able to snowball that anymore because of the way the composition's set up. It's a composition for fighting at dragons. It's not a composition for fighting under turrets, or it can dive a little bit, but the problem with it is siege situations are absolutely terrible for it.
Yeah, this is an uncomfortable position for A&M right now. We can see them. They want this dragon. Dragon number 4 is a very important dragon, but they're kind of scrambling for wards right now. They don't have that deep vision that they're so accustomed to with some of those earlier team fights. They do get the Scuttle Crab and manage to get some solid warding around the pit itself, but they cannot control the jungle, as UBC are very strong, very pick-oriented. There's the grouping.
We've had a bit of a lull for the first time in the game.
Yeah, I know.
Because UBC are not going for those big team fights anymore. They're the ones who've been starting most of them with their Righteous Glory and the Nautilus ultimate, trying to just get in there, or even the Scion ultimate. But they've kind of held off. They used their Baron buff up, they got some damage on turrets, they didn't take any. But they're not going for the team fights anymore. They aren't going for the bloody battles. They're trying to be a little more calculated about it, and that's been a problem for UBC, is not being calculated about the fights they take. They were talking about how they don't fight for no reason anymore. We've seen a couple of those. But fighting over the Dragon is what they really want to do. They want to have an objective in their sights.
Chuck Normus got caught recalling. He was spotted out by a ward placed by Remy, so instantly UBC collapse onto the Dragon. They know they can fight this 5v4. Minor misplay from Chuck Normus. He does get his last Whisper, but he has to sack over that Dragon to UBC. They get their second one. They turn it around. They're going to try to make this fight. Forgive me, tanking in the front line. Chuck Normus on the side, drops a culling. Zoning ultimate comes across from Picarus, and A&M are going to look to get out of this. The hook lands. They're going to turn it into a fight. Epic Lynx dives onto Bobchin in the back line, but he's suppressed. He's forced to back away while Chuck Normus kites DJJ away. No one has died yet. Epic Lynx dropping the Zonias. Is he going to get out of this alive? He does not. Bobchin picks it up with a double kill, but Chuck Normus is on to Heat Waves. He goes down as well. It's another kill. Quadra kill. Penta kill for Bobchin. He gets the penta.
The reset's coming through. This game has been all about the mid laners. At first, Epic Shots. Now Bobchin, the last 2 fights, has shown up huge for his team on this Katarina last pick.
Amazing play from UBC as Bobchin gets a pentakill in game number 1. A&M have not dropped a single game in the group stages. They're 8-0 right now. Could this be their first stumbling block?
They've had a very good showing so far, but this Katarina, out of nowhere, has just taken over the game. Bobchin got to a point where he was struggling in the laning phase. He wasn't doing too high. He wasn't getting the attention from Proof. Now, absolutely crazy. It could be Texas A&M giving up their first loss.
Oh, Epic Lynx is going to find a free kill as he did burn his teleport.
Epic Lynx has anything to say about it.
Yeah, he's going for chase. DJJ did burn his ultimate.
Epic Lynx has flash too, and he knows it's a Scion. He's not going to have...
Oh, is he?
Oh, no.
Oh, he's going for Bobchin. Flashes! Zonias comes out. Bobchin, he makes it. Oh, and he finally goes down. Shut down. Epic Lynx picks up the gold. Much needed. Pings going down into the mid lane. Oh, they're going for the Baron. Yeah, Bobchin is dead for 40 seconds.
And he was the big problem last time they went for Baron. DJJ doesn't have his ultimate up just yet. It'll be up in a bit. They have to get this Baron down quickly, though.
Oh, Epic Shot's actually tanking it for a little bit. Is brought down to half health. Proof waiting in the wings. He's not spotted out by a ward. He's got a ward in the pit. Oh, he doesn't get the steal. Dashes in. DJJ tries to force a fight. Chuck Normus is low. Epic Shots is low. He's going to end up dropping to 200 health. The slowest kite in the history of the world, but he's still alive. Proof goes down. DJJ running for his life as A&M. They're still in this.
Yeah, when Bobchin goes down, he's not in these fights. The cleanup, you don't have to worry about it. Epic Shots, Chuck Normus, such low AP for so long. That was a crazy fight for them. UBC, they're fighting again. They're not giving up these objectives, and the gold is once again just 1.4K difference now. And you can see DJJ, he goes in. This is the pentakill here from Bobchin. He plays off to the side, he plays down. He knows that there's no absolute zero. He knows that some ultimates are down. There goes the shockwave. And then the moonfall comes out, and he goes off to the side, waits it out, kites, lets Heat Waves actually get his damage off. Ulti's here. He still has his own Zonias, by the way, too. Bobchin is sitting on his Zonias active, but he's got full confidence that they're going to clean up right afterwards. He comes in, and then the fight has still been going on. It's a big, tanky front line. There's an Urgot in this game. There's a Scion. There's a Nunu. These are going to get drawn out, and everybody gets whittled down to the point where the Katarina is just such a useful pick if she's able to stay alive throughout the duration and weave in and out of the fight.
Yeah, one of the problems with UBC's team compositions in the past has been that they pick 4 members and build a team comp, and then Bobchin just kind of does what he wants. He picks LeBlanc or Zed, something that he's comfortable on. But this time on Katarina, it seems like it fits rather well. He's doing exceptionally well in this game.
It fits the meta of the game at the moment and the way he's playing it. I think he's still doing his own thing, though.
Yeah. He is doing rather well in this game. It's still dead even. Only 500 gold separate these two teams.
It is so tense, and the fact that they have like UBC, we've talked about it a bunch. Lack of wave clear. When your Baron buffed up minions come through and you have a lack of wave clear, you're going to lose turrets. You have to take a fight, or you have to cede the turrets.
Oh, Epic Shots is in the front line. They turn it around. Oh, the ultimate comes out, but Pickers is instantly knocked out. Bobchin drops the Zonias, and everyone collapses onto him. He goes down. Epic Shots is still alive. Chuck Normus is going to be CC locked, however. Epic Lynx trying to drop some epic AoE, and he drops. It's 2 kills for UBC.
It's 3, actually. It's a 3 for 1 in the overall. They end up being 2K gold up. But once again, their wave clear isn't that great. They have to push side waves very far in. They've already gotten the middle inhibitor, and now they are basically doing wave clear duty. There is a minute left before the next dragon is up. 4th and 3rd for the teams respectively. But this is going to be a longer game. We're going to see some more fights here. This game is far from over at this point.
Oh, yeah. 3 to 6 in turrets right now. UBC knocking down that mid inhibitor, opened up so much of the map for them. And despite the fact that A&M had Baron buff, they were sieging down a lane in which they had no inhibitor. Yeah, they had to contend with 5 members, a turret, and super minions.
It's good to do that, though, when you have the wave clear advantage, because you just push it out. You make sure that you don't have a side wave that's pushing against you. You just go down the wave that has the super minions, so you never have to worry about that pressure. It's never that lingering thing in the back of your mind that's like, well, we only have a minute to be here because super minions are going to be on our Nexus turrets in a little bit. They completely negate that by going middle. And like I said, you either fight it or you seed the turret, and UBC went for the fight. And now, 15 seconds, 10 seconds on this dragon. And I think we're going to see another fight. I think that's a professional analyst opinion.
Pretty safe bet.
We'll probably see a fight around this dragon.
It's a pretty safe bet. Everyone's grouped up around this side. There is a bit of deep vision on the blue buff, but it gets cleared out. A&M do get superior positioning. Wow.
Gotta get them wards down.
Oh, man. They've got 5 wards in 2 bushes. Immediately turning onto the dragon. DJJ turns it around. They secure it. That's dragon number 4. Can they take the follow-up fight? Chuck Normus kites it around. Epic Shots is turned upon. He goes down. Bobchin with a triple kill. A quadra kill. Is he going to get a second pentakill? Oh, my goodness. He does not.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. Remy steals the pentakill number 2. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Remy, you dirty rat. He took the pentakill. That's going to be UBC pushing down the mid lane, though. They're going to be able to get this inhibitor back up for themselves. 30 seconds on the death timers here. Dom, this might be game.
They just might be. It's 20 seconds until Gragas comes up. The Zonius is burned. Nexus turret 1 goes down. Nexus turret 2 is going to be followed up upon. UBC looking to end A&M's spree and take game number 1. They do indeed. UBC take the win.
And add the first defeat in the collegiate tournament to Texas A&M. That was a hectic back and forth game. We talked about the team fights coming out and how important that's going to be. Both teams went for team fights over and over and over again. And man, if you have friends who aren't watching, get them to start watching, because these games are going to be bloody and fun. No matter who you're rooting for, these are going to be some fun League of Legends games to watch. It's game 1, and my voice is already hurting a little bit.
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing. You just saw on camera Remy standing up with the rest of his team.
Yeah, I'm surprised
with a grin from
smack him.
ear to ear. I know. I'm still surprised that he isn't right now, taking that second pentakill in his first debut on stage.
He got 1 pentakill.
He did get 1. Yeah. He did get 1. Yeah. But it is Katarina, to be fair.
It's true. Okay, you know what? So when you get 9 kills, you get a quadra and a penta. It's like a real Katarina penta.
Yeah.
You expect at least a penta and a quadra.
That's what it counts up for. Man, great play. UBC playing so strong. But we're going to go ahead and toss it over to our analysts, and they're going to break down exactly what happened. Dash, it's all you.
Thank you, gentlemen. I mean, that was an incredibly exciting game. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better game 1 to start off the weekend here at the Collegiate Championships. There's so much to talk about. I mean, this game played entirely to the story of these two teams, right?
Yeah.
UBC coming out strong, looking great in lanes early. Texas A&M regrouping as we approach that mid-game and taking objectives and finding a way back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, especially there were a couple of times where you would see UBC go for very aggressive plays. I think there were 2 ganks top. 1 worked, 1 didn't. And instantly, without hesitation or anything, Texas A&M says, okay, we'll take Dragon. Or we'll chunk your mid lane tower to 10%, right? We're going to continue to set up, breaking your turret lines, getting ahead of you on these objectives, and you can feed that Katarina all you want. Clearly, it worked out for them by the end of it, right? But for a majority of the game, they were hanging in there, and it was because they kept moving when UBC was just wanting to fight.
Yeah, speaking of that Katarina, let's talk a little bit about UBC's composition and their approach to the game, and how, I mean, she ended up securing a pentakill and a quadra kill in this game.
Pentakill and a half, we'll call it.
Pentakill and a half, I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can look at this going right into this replay. You can see them set up for it. All of Tamu is going to be split up here. The Shockwave only hits one, and this is the big factor because all the fights they win, it hits multiple targets. Now Epic Lynx swapped out with that hyperkinetic position reverser into the backside. We're going to see him go in, and he blows all of his cooldowns, does not get Bobchin, and this sets him up for the perfect kill. Able to clean through. You can see Epic shots on the backline, completely out of mana. Chuck Norris out of position, and this is just an easy cleanup at this stage.
And honestly, this is exactly what they picked their team to do. We were talking about it earlier. I kind of call it a one-threat comp, right? Urgot certainly does a lot of damage. All these characters can be individual contributors, but you build a bunch of tanky guys with CC and you have a Katarina, you have one thing in your mind, and they played it out perfectly right there. Nunu and Diana are able to get into the back and almost take him out, but the peel is just strong enough from all of the other frontliners that once those two were down, it was pretty easy from there.
Yeah, the important thing to note there is that was a fight that they aggressed, right? So their frontliners were preventing Diana for the majority, or for the first half of that fight, to even get to that backline. The Urgot reposition was used on Diana to make it even more difficult for her to get on top of the Katarina, whereas earlier in the game we saw Epic Lynx able to zone out Katarina, zone that threat out of the fight for a much longer period of time, while Lucian was able to take down the backline.
Right, yeah. And honestly, it just comes down to Epic Shots as a player being probably the most important person of the game for Texas A&M this time around, right? We had a fight earlier in the game where Lynx was able to zone them off and kind of deny that pentakill, right? And it was because
we have that replay. We'll pull it up, actually.
Okay.
We can kind of talk about that.
We can do that. But it's because they start them off with these beautiful shockwaves. So we'll get into it right here, right? The fight begins, you know, they're kind of getting ready to do Dragon here, poking around at it. And then there is the 3-man shockwave, and Epic Lynx is in the top, doing his job zoning. It doesn't matter if he dies at this point, because the whole reason they picked that Diana has been completed. The camera pans down, and where did everyone go? You see they've all pretty much died to the combined might here. Forgive me, does a little bit of zoning work here to make sure they can finish off the Dragon, but pretty crucially, even if the shockwave doesn't land on the damage dealers, it's softening up these huge tanks. It's making sure a lot of forward momentum and a lot of damage can be put out on them. That didn't happen in the previous replay. And so when you're not stopping Cat with your shockwaves and you're not crushing the tanks with your shockwaves, Katarina is going to find a way to get that kill, and she did.
And in the early to mid game, they had a few seconds to stop the Katarina with the Death Lotus. They had a little bit of time. But as we approached the late game, you saw that single ward, not seeing the flank from Katarina, just ends in an instant pentakill, because Katarina at that stage of the game does so much damage, and with so many people grouped, she can just clean through the entire team fight.
Yeah.
Right. So taking a step back at looking at this game, right? Texas A&M knew that mechanically they probably weren't as strong. So they have to try and figure out how they're going to shore up those weaknesses. And where I saw it shine through the most was going to be in that bot lane. Right? Misjudging that level 2 engagement was awful. Yeah. In all honesty, it was awful. Right? They gave up 2 early kills in the game by not respecting the level 2 of Urgot Nautilus. It's already a 2v2 they didn't want. And then to go into it heads up and be a little bit too aggressive in it was a huge mistake.
Yeah, I mean, you got to call it what it is, right? It was not a fantastic series of plays made by Chuck Norris, and forgive me, I suck. Hopefully they did forgive him for that early game. You know, you can sometimes be like, oh, maybe I didn't know they went for the Gromp. You don't expect it, right? But you should be able to see their health and mana have kind of been drained. You're like, okay, I see. It hasn't, you know, they have taken a lot of damage. They've probably gone for this. And Lucian was in melee range of the Nautilus when that level 2 came, right? When you know that you're down that XP, you can't go for it. And then another thing, he bought the Avarice Blade before coming back to lane the second time, right? And was like, we're going to fight now. It's like, you're not actually that strong. The idea they wanted to fight because they hadn't bought yet, and then fantastic job from Rek'Sai, right? Proof of payment being like, I know that they're going to try to aggress and end up getting the second kill. And that sets them behind super far.
But the thing about this team is that no matter how far behind they are, like you said earlier, they always manage to trade something back. And so looking forward, looking to the next game, as to what they need to change, I mean, I don't think that's an indication of the bot lane's skill overall. I think that's just a single mistake that they made.
No, yeah, it's absolutely just an adjustment that they need to make, right? And I think part of it is probably a little bit of jitters coming into the big, the big stage, the big games. And we saw them end up playing the team fights very well. Both Forgive Me, I Suck, and, excuse me as I lose the name.
Pickerus?
No.
Jungle? Who are you
The
looking
80 carry.
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris. There you go. Both of them moving into the team fights played them very well, as you already mentioned. Forgive Me zoning fantastically throughout all the fights, and his scoreline isn't going to represent it properly because he was sacrificing himself in every single team fight in order to protect his backline. And same thing with Chuck Norris. We saw the triple kill in that fight. He's playing it properly in the team fights. Yeah. It's on them, though, to come out of that lane phase safe. We've already seen what Texas A&M can do coming out of lane with no kills. They should be okay with that. They should feel like if we come out 10 CS behind, that's a win for us because we're going to out-rotate them for dragons, out-rotate them for turrets.
Yeah, I think if we wind it back to Champion Select for a moment and we look at what the teams ended up picking up, I think there's two notable improvements, one per each team that you could make. For on the side of Texas A&M, if you get a little bit harder peel instead of the Nunu, and on the side of UBC, you get a little better wave clear, some of those weaknesses that we saw play out in these epic fights get shored up.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the other thing about these teams, we touched on it earlier, this rivalry between these teams. And I think one of the fears for University of British Columbia coming in was that they were going to be overlooking this matchup a little bit, looking straight to the finals, and I feel like that was a little bit apparent there in the early game. There's a little hubris behind it, but both of these teams definitely have strong feelings about the either.
Yeah.
This year we have 2 new players from last year, and I feel like we've just gotten better mechanically in every role.
We kind of hand-selected this team. We incorporated a support staff, a manager, a coach, and an analyst. We really have an advantage that we all get along as a team. We really enjoy playing with each other.
I think we have the best players in every role for collegiate. I don't think there's really anything all that special about A&M. I expect a pretty easy win tomorrow.
We've always known that UBC is the other big college team, especially coming out of the West, and we've played them in other tournaments like Ivy Law and CSL, so getting them in the first round is okay, let's show what we're made of and see if we can really take them out.
I'm just most excited to finally get to play. We've been practicing, we've been hyping it up. I'm just finally excited to get onto the Rift and beat them.
I think it's an advantage that we're the quote underdog because we have nothing to lose. We've been here before. We're all really old school players. For me personally, Proof is definitely the best jungler, or besides me. But he does prioritize early ganks a little more than me, and he really knows how to read the map and also while getting farm, which if we see him and we're able to counter gank him and stop his early game, I think definitely we'll have the upper hand.
I think A&M should get some tickets to Disneyland to salvage their trip because there is not going to be a third place match on Sunday.
We've heard that UBC doesn't really respect us that much, and I've been thinking about RMU. I think that's a big mistake on UBC's part. If they haven't prepped for us or don't respect us, we will win.
Well, it's good to be confident, right? I mean, there's no point in them playing if they don't think they can win. It just makes it better for us when we crush them. In solo queue ranking, I basically have enough LP to have more than all of Texas combined. UBC will definitely 2-0 Texas.
And for Texas A&M, you heard Pickerus kind of talk about his respect for proof of payment, his fear of proof of payment's more early game style junglers. And they let the Rek'Sai get through in that pick ban, which was really surprising for me. So while I feel that Texas A&M had a solid strategy and they executed it reasonably well, maybe switch up the Nunu for a Rek'Sai, maybe find a way to deny him that early game pick because we saw them get behind early. And while they may be comfortable with it, it might not be something they can afford to do again.
Yeah, I mean, we had been going over it, right? Proof actually does not enjoy the tanks that are kind of seeing play a lot right now, right? Does not actually like playing Sejuani, is not a big fan of that, would much more prefer the Nidalee and the Rek'Sai, right? So that's where we see those bans coming through. To touch a little bit on what I was saying earlier, I think if you are Texas A&M, I mean, in all the features we've had today, you see they're close friends, they've played a lot. We even noted on the desk during the game, during some of the team fights, they were laughing, they were getting excited, they're really getting into this. You know, I think you could run that same comp back. I disagree a little bit on the Nunu. I think you could use something that has a little bit more of a hard stop to contain Bob Chin. But you could run that back. If you are UBC, though, and you run the same comp again, I think A&M might have the download on you, right? The lack of wave clear, the over-focus on Bob Chin, you build a slightly better containment field around that guy, and we could be seeing a Game 3 very easily.
And on the topic of Champion Select, we have to note, University of British Columbia has admitted that Champion Select is probably their weakest point, right? They are not entirely confident in their ability to go through pick spans, whereas Texas A&M, complete opposite.
Yeah.
They're very confident in their options that they have when going through Champion Select, and then the actual calling of it and their late game. So a lot could be riding here on this next pick ban phase before we even get into the game.
Yeah.
Well, definitely the big question for me is that Orianna going to get through again? Because that was just such a huge tool in the previous game. We already talked about how much of an impact he had with those shockwaves, and can they really afford to give them an entrance back into the mid game with a pick like Orianna?
Yeah, I was shocked when they didn't ban the Orianna, right? They ended up banning Ari instead. You know, still a very good pick, right? But doesn't seem as team fight impacting as Epic Shots likes to be with the Orianna play. So I think looking at the pick and ban is going to be really kind of insightful in showing where the minds of UBC are at, right? Because if UBC is just thinking, we could run it back, we're going to be really strong, and they don't respect the Orianna, they could see the Game 3, like we're saying.
Well, we'll soon find out what these teams have planned in Champions Select.